Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of Daily Creative Challenge. I'm excited to be hosting you guys again. Hello, everyone in the chat. We got Laura and Jeffrey and Dan and Sam and Jack. Hey, if you are in the house, give us a hello. Maybe where are you coming from? I'm coming from Long Beach, California. I'm your host, Elizé, and I'm an Adobe XD Enterprise instructor, but I'm also a design educator. My whole goal is to make design education easy to learn, accessible to all people, and most of all, a good time. So let's have a good time. Let's start with looking at the challenge for today. We are going to be talking all about micro interactions. Ooh. I don't have any sound effects yet, so I have to make all the sounds with my own voice. So behance.net/challenge/XD is where you can enroll into the challenge. The big blue button is where you can enroll. And this is going from November 8th to December 10th. The first 2 weeks we are live, and the second 2 weeks we're gonna do the replay of these episodes. So you actually have a whole month to complete these challenges. Plenty of time. All right, so underneath here is where you're going to see your unchallenges unlocked. And today we are doing the micro interactions. Click Get Started to get the Adobe XD file that I'm going to show you today, but you can also get XD here for free. You can also join the community to upload your work, share it with other people. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. This is Discord. Don't be scared if this is your first time. There's a lot going on, but just know that over on the left-hand side, we have the challenges channel under feedback, and this is where you can upload your amazing designs, get feedback from the mentors in the community, give feedback and love to other people. The other important one here is the tips and tricks over here under advice. I create a PDF for you guys every day, like a little extra learning lesson, and I upload that here into Discord for you guys to review while you work. Okay, now I want to talk about all your lovely designs. Okay, I was so excited to look through these today because I got to see your designs from Friday, but also just throughout the week. And so let's give some love to Abranil here. We've got a lovely landing page with some cute little ideas around, what it means to get a dog, how to match with a dog, frequently asked questions around this. Let's also look at this one from Rayhan. Oh, I like that this is really brings me right away into the scene, this cool hotel. And I like that you have a call to action right up top here. You're using the repeat grid, great. You've got some nice designs, great images, and you have included the testimonials, right? Which we said is really important for a high converting landing page. Why don't we look over here? Let's look at another one from the week. I just like this one. I see a lot of color, looks really fun. We are seeing the animations, the Lottie animations used for the onboarding screen. And I'm also seeing plus points for using neumorphism with this. So you are kind of using both of the UI trends. If you guys are just joining, we are talking about 2022 UI trends over these next few weeks because we're trying to get prepped and ready. And then let's look at this one here from Liana. This is from the music video experience. I think this was day 2. Challenge 1. Oh, nice. I like the classical take. I like the black and white. I like the strong red calls to action. It feels real vibrant and dark and moody kind of. I'm enjoying that. Yeah, Jeffrey, thanks for giving great work. Props to other people that are uploading their designs. If you guys want me to give you props as well and you want your work to be discoverable, over in the upper right-hand side in Behance, you can upload your project, include images, video, everything. And then under settings, you can just use the project tag XD Creative Challenge for that to be discoverable. All right, who's ready to talk about today's exercise? Challenge number 6. All right, so we are doing micro interactions. We're going to talk about auto-animate, and we're going to do it for a little to-do list app. Got some inspiration here from some to-do lists app. But as per my style, I'm gonna give you a very quick introduction to what is a micro interaction. What's this all about? Who knows what micro interactions are already in the chat? And you're like, oh my God, easy breezy. Let me give you some advice in the chat right now. This is another trend that we're going to continue to see in 2022, micro interactions. If you don't know what a micro interaction is, it's basically events which have one main task, one single purpose. So for example, in this one here in LinkedIn, if we pull and we try to refresh our feed, we're going to see this micro interaction with this movement of that refresh. So the system is telling us, oh, we know that you took that action and we're letting you know we're working on it. We're refreshing this page. This is from Nielsen Norman Group. They define micro interactions as something that the user is triggering or the system is triggering, and it's just really giving feedback to the user. I like to think about it as like Yoda, like that, something to guide you during the experience. Like the micro interactions help guide the user, help support the user throughout their experience, right? So where they're helping users see the results of their action, helping prevent errors, and helping to communicate statuses and providing feedback. Right? And so it's really about the details. And sometimes like the details is what really can differentiate you from others. Let's look at some examples. So we have like an email notification. This is a system triggered event, right? Not from the user, the system triggered. Hey, you got an email. There's a little interaction here. Or this is one that's a user triggered event. So the user favorited this dress, like, oh, I love this dress, right? And then we have this little micro interaction that happened. Tiny interaction, the little heart went from filled to unfilled or vice versa. And then we have an example of what is not a micro interaction, which is a video player. This is considered a feature, not a micro interaction, but guess what? The little play button, that is a micro interaction. I click that little play button and it turns into a stop. Right? It turns into a little square to tell me, hey, yep, you clicked it. It's now changed. It's triggered an event. We recognize you. We've guided you here. So this is a way for you to help understand what ways that you can use micro interactions and its purposes. All right, this is the design we are working with today. This is a little to-do list, and I recommend that you guys make a little to-do list that's very personal for yourself. This was very personal to me. Like, I need to call the vet for my dog's medication. I need to clean my office. It's a mess. You can't tell right now in this screen. I need to buy some milk and eggs. I need to go live on Adobe, right? I have my personal tasks and professional tasks. And then when I'm ready to say, hey, this is done, I can check these off if I want to. And these are the interactions we're going to create, micro interactions, as well as if I click this little plus button, we see another micro interaction, a change the system has let me know when I click this button. Hey, what are these? Do you want to add a task? Do you want to add an event? What do you want to add here? Could also close that. Here's another micro interaction. I clicked something, there's a change. Something happened here within this screen. And now I can see more date options, right? So we've got tons of micro interactions happening within this one screen. And we're using auto-animate to do so. Y'all ready to get it started? Oh, you guys love Yoda? I know. Think about, that's how you can think about it. Try to be the Yoda for others, guiding people, helping them through their experience on your app or your website. Now, what I'm going to do is first just begin with adding these personal tasks, okay? I'm gonna call the vet for Cashew. I wanna add this, and first I'm gonna do the card here in the background. And in order to do so, I'm just going to hit R on my keyboard for the shortcut for rectangle. But as we know, over here on the left-hand side, we have the toolbar. And over here, the second one down is the rectangle tool. So I can also select it that way. I'm creating my rectangle. Boom, there we go. Over on the right-hand side is where I can make the adjustments to that rectangle. I'm gonna get rid of that border, and I'm gonna add a drop shadow. Drop it on the drop shadow. I'm gonna just make it like a little bit more of a blur. And I'm gonna turn down the black a little bit. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go into the inside corner of the rectangle and make it a little bit more rounded, more friendly. Cool, we're good with shapes, right? We're feeling good. Let's move on to text. Again, basic text, you can hit T on your keyboard for text, or you can click this third one down on your toolbar to hit text, and then I can start to put my text in. And you can make the adjustments to that over here. If I wanna make it like an 18 or a 20 font, I can change the font weight, etc. all here. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Let's get into actually creating these interactions with the tasks. What I typically do, and actually what I want to show you first is how I've broken down this component. So if I bring it over here to the side, you can actually see that there are two states to this component. There's this state over here on the right, and then there's this state. There's two states, and we're going to talk about how we're going to create these two states, but I want you to see the difference, the two. And I actually usually start with creating a state that has the most stuff in it. So this has like a check mark, it has a cross, it's got a color in it, there's more happening. So I typically like to start with that state. Not a must-have, but something I like to do. I think it's a little easier. So I am going to create this one here. I'm using E on my keyboard for the shortcut for a circle. And then from there, I am going to just fill that color in right here with this gradient color. And then I'm going to remove the border. You have two places where you can change your color, over here if you've added your colors, or over here on the right-hand side. So now once I have that, I am actually going to add the little check mark. So this check mark is something that I have already downloaded from Icons for Design, which is a plugin that you can find here. You can add plugins. If someone could just put that in the chat where you can get plugins. And this one is called Icons for Design. And I just searched check mark and was able to get one from there. Okay. We've covered this over the last few weeks. If you're like, oh my gosh, I already know, I'm tired of you hearing, tired of you saying things about that Icons for Design. Like, I hear you. But we might have some people who are new. If you're new to week 2, let me know. Or new to the UI challenge. So I have my little check mark, and now I'm going to add my text. So T for text again. And I'm just gonna actually add it from here. You already know how I make text. I don't want you to have to watch me like type every letter. So here I have the task, and then this is what I'm going to do next is just make a little line for the cross, like crossing it out. So I'm making L on my keyboard is the shortcut for the line. But I want to make it the color, this like light gray color. And for some reason for lines, if I just select it here on the left-hand side, it's not going to change the color. But if I right click and apply border color, then it will change it. Okay, so that is kind of something new about XD, something new to learn. Kyle's not new, but never stop educating for newbies. Thanks, Kyle, I appreciate it. Okay, Fakil, you're new. See, okay, we got some new people in here. So what you can do from there is you've got these 3 elements, and now I'm going to make this into a component, okay? So this is the first state of the component. Ooh, there we go. So I'm gonna grab these 2 objects. I'm just selecting it, holding shift down, grabbing these 3 different layers that I have. And over on the right-hand side, I'm gonna make this a component. Okay, now I have a first state. Over on the right-hand side, I can see that it says default state, but I wanna add a new state. I wanna add this state here. So I'm going to click the little plus button, and I actually, instead of just clicking new state, I'm gonna select something called toggle state. And what that allows me to do is it basically already creates the interaction, the prototype link. So it makes it clickable for me. I'll show you the difference between this and another going through the new state option in just a little bit, but I think this is easier. If you have just two different states that you have, you probably just want to use this toggle state. It's already animated for you. And over here, I'm now going to get this circle, grab this guy, and if you want to get into a particular layer, you can hit Command, at least for Apple users. Let us know in the chat for Mac users. Command, and I am going to remove that fill color, but I'm going to apply a border color. And this border color is going to be pink. So cute. Now I am going to make this text darker. Now I want it so that when it's crossed off, it's lighter. Why? Why do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Why would I want it lighter versus darker when it's not crossed off? You guys saw my dog on my Instagram story. I know, isn't he the cutest? If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm Elizé_UX, and I host tons of free events, workshops. So here I have that line, and I'm actually just bringing it and reducing it to a tiny little line, and I'm going to make it disappear. This is because I want it to grow. I want it to have that animation of like movement. Let me show you the example here so you can take a look at what's happening. Just pay attention to the line. Might be so fast, but it's like growing a little and then collapsing, growing and collapsing. And this is how auto-animate works. And I want to show you this on something that's maybe a little bit easier to understand here. So over here, I have a couple of examples. Let's say I have this shape on my artboard and I copy it and I paste it into this shape and I just make it really big. Basically, XD is when I create this auto-animate effect, it's gonna know, oh, it's making up the difference from going small to going big. So I'm going to make an interaction in the prototype tab here. And so when I click into this, I'm going to drag this little arrow over to this artboard, and I'm going to change the transition to auto-animate. I'm also going to do the same thing when I click onto the big circle. It's going to go back to the previous artboard. So now I can see it's going from small to big, and this is how auto-animate works. If you see that if I just did a basic transition, no animation, let's see the difference here. Whoa, right? There's not that cute growth that's happening. It's just like a big circle, right? Small circle, big circle. So the same thing kind of goes here. I have these two shapes. I've created the prototype links for them with auto-animate, and it's now moving from bottom to top to bottom. It's just making up that movement so that it's really fluid. And that's what I'm doing with this line. And I saw that Laura said, because the task is done. Yes, so we are making this text grayscale, or gray, and we are making the other text dark. And so the gray is representing this is done. You don't need to spend as much attention to it, right? Our eyes don't need to be looking at this as much. So that's why we do it in that way. Cool. So now we have our two states, default state and a toggle state. It's already created the animations for me. I don't need to do anything. I'm going to click play, and now I see that little interaction. Oh, how cute it's happening. All right. So we've created our first component state with an animation. Created a micro interaction. Please let me know if you have questions during this experience. I'm happy to answer. So now I'm just going to use repeat grid. This is something we were using last week where I can just repeat the same element over and over again. I'm just going to turn it off. Then I can do the same thing here. I'm going to take this whole like card and then repeat it down below. Ungroup that grid. And then here is the app bar background, and I'm just going to move that up in my layers panel because I want it to come forward, all the way forward, so that you can see that that is over these two cards. Okay, cool, yep. All right, so now let's make another micro interaction. We are going to do this interaction here the little rectangles moving up, moving down. And again, what I like to do is to create the state that has the most going on. So that's this one. I'm gonna first create this state. So I've already created the basic menu, but now I wanna add a rectangle, R for rectangle, T for text. I'm gonna put event. And for now, I'm not gonna use the little icons. You get the idea, but I'm going to just add these two pieces here. And then instead of a border, I'm going to do another drop shadow and make it like more noticeable. Okay, so now I have these two layers. I'm going to select the front layer and the back layer by holding Shift and make them a group. This means I'm able to move it around as a group together. So now that this is here, I'll just make the same kind of look here. So I have two, and this is task. And what I want it to do is like kind of come out from the bottom. So it's gonna like float out from beneath the app bar. The other thing is you might have noticed here that this is turned in from a plus state to a closed state. When you hit the close state, it's going to then collapse these two rectangles. So I am just going to take this plus sign and I'm just going to rotate it. I saw that Sam is putting a link for new people. If you are new, if all of this is like, oh my gosh, overwhelming, honestly, just play around with creating the circle, small circle to big circle, getting used to animation, movement with two artboards. If you want to move on from that, maybe just do this little state interaction. Just kind of move slowly at your own pace, whatever feels good to you. And then of course, you might want to start with the first challenge. Here, I'm now going to select these two groups and select this app bar and make it a component over on the right-hand side. Now this is one of my states and I want to create, I'll move it over here so you can probably see a little better. This is my one state and I want to create the new state where it all kind of collapses and it's now behind the app bar. So I'm going to go over to the plus sign and instead of clicking toggle state, I'm going to do new state. I'm going to show you that route. These here, these tasks, these groups, I'm going to bring them down where I want them to go. I want them to go from up high to down low. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them a little smaller. But I want them to go behind the app bar. So on the left-hand side, the second one down below here is my layers panel. And I'm going to make sure that the app bar is over those two groups so you can't see it. I want it to hide behind. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those two groups and I'm just going to change the appearance all the way down to 0. You can't see them. And now I have these two states here, this state and this state. And I'm just going to actually, I forgot to make this a plus sign now instead of a X. This honestly is my favorite part, is just the little plus sign moving. So we have my two states, but now I need to create the interaction. Last time I created the toggle interaction. It already created that prototype link for me. But now because I didn't use that option, I have to create those links myself. So I'm gonna go from design mode into prototype mode. I want it so that when the user, I'm just keep double clicking to get into this particular layer because I want it so that when the user clicks the plus button, they're gonna see that cute little interaction, okay? So instead of dragging this arrow somewhere, hey, where are you going? It's gonna stay right here. So I'm just double clicking so that it knows you're not going anywhere, you're gonna stay right in this component. Okay, over on the right-hand side, when I did that, I'm now able to change the destination to the default state, and I can make the transition type into auto-animate. Yay! Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the default state, and again, because now I have just one interaction, I'll show you actually how this is working now. Let's bring it over here. Oops. So here, when I have this plus button, it's moving up, right? It's coming up from the bottom. How cute! But now it's not doing anything when I close it. So you actually have to create both of those interactions. So I'm gonna go click into here, back into prototype, and I'm gonna click into this specific button right here and double click again so that I choose state number 2 and it's still auto animate. So now I have these two states, and I'm going to be able to now use the plus sign for it to move up and for it to move down. How cute, right? All right, cool. That's everything. I'm so excited to see your guys' design work, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you enjoy. Have fun with your design file. That's what's most important. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.